Okay, guys, welcome to Coach Henry's Corner, Coach Henry's show. We're still trying to figure all that out, but two absolutely amazing, I can't even say guests because they're my lives. So, but my beautiful daughter and my amazing son, truly very, very thankful to have this forum. So, why don't, before I go any further, you guys share a little bit about you, where you are, and then we'll get into this. But thank you both for being here, for just your love and making me truly one of the proudest men that could be out there. Truly, thank you.
Well, thank you, Father. Thank you for having us. It's exciting that this is now a reality.
Yes.
We'll go into more details of the past, but I'm Zach, 34 years old.
Wait, 34?
I think so. I think this is the 35th birthday coming up. And just had a baby 6 months. I didn't, but my wife just had a baby 6 months ago. And so now figuring all that out, living in Austin, Texas, working with you again in a different capacity than what I grew up doing. So that's really exciting. Loving the church that we're a part of and just extending our roots out in Austin. So really happy to be there. Happy to be here.
Thank you,
Yay.
Peanut. And before my beautiful daughter speaks, I do want to thank our sponsor, one of them, Brownstone Capital Investments. For all your real estate investment needs, we are there. But, but for real, we are. But no, thank you, because honestly, that has been a great forum, and that's allowed an opportunity to Peanut to be a big part of, which we'll circle back later. Without further ado.
Oh, drum roll, please.
Beautiful daughter.
I am so happy to be here, Dad. I mean, exactly to Zach's point, it's been a long time coming for you to have a podcast up and going. We've been through many journeys of we're going to do it together, we'll one day do it, and just now it's happening, and we get to be sitting here with you, and it just feels crazy, but it's also testimony to you that, you always push through and you always make things come to life. So I'm very excited to be here. My name is Cassidy. I go by Cass.
See money.
See money sometimes, depends on the mood. And I'm currently living in San Francisco with my amazing husband, JP. And life has been a lot of moving parts, and it's only the beginning of 2024, but there's so much that I can't wait to share, but it's all in the works right now. So I'll leave a little cliffhanger because maybe in a few months we'll be back on the show sharing a little bit more about what's happening. But just happy to be here and so excited.
Well, thank you both. That is a cliffhanger, so we'll come back to that.
Stay tuned.
No, honestly, thank you. It has been. I remember Zach brought up one of the videos that we shot with A-Train.
Coachie's Corner.
Coachie's Corner. Coachie's Corner.
Coachie's Corner. Yeah.
But no, I am thankful, guys, and part of the wisdom, especially you, Zach, now as a father, like you said it the other day, like, man, your why's changed a little bit, went from, and we always joke about, Peanut, well, Dad's gonna, like, okay, well, Dad might still do, but you're your own.
Yeah.
So I want to really just kind of dive deep into that for a moment, because that's part of our table discussion was real subjects.
Yeah.
That we don't always have to agree. And a lot of times people see our family and, things must be great. They only, no, it is great, but we work hard for that.
Yes.
We put effort in. Yesterday, 3-4 hours of driving for a 2-hour moment.
Yeah.
So it's not about validating ourselves, but it is about sharing with the world that if you want it, go get it.
Yeah.
This took a lot longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be, that was like 15 years ago, Raya.
Correct.
Okay, here we are. So on that note, I'm going to ask you both what you think your why was growing up. What did you think your why was? How did that word mean to you?
Yeah.
And what does it mean now? So just take a moment, because it's a deep question. But
Yeah.
I need people to understand, and part of why you're thinking about that, my objective with this show is really one key objective is for people to truly take applicable things from the guest, from myself, from anything that this show can give them, and help them be better at life.
Yeah.
To really be better. Because to me, the best, I try to be that. The better person I can be healthy, the better dad, the better friend, the better boss, the better entrepreneur, whatever can be done. So Zach, let's start with you. What was your why, briefly? And then what is your why now?
Yeah. it's interesting because I would say a couple of years back, 5-10 years ago, I think my why would have been the same as it is today, just the definition of that word is different. I think back then my why was I felt I needed to make an impact on the world. That was my why. I was like, okay, I got to do this. I want to coach people. I want to be a part of KO. I want to go to Africa. I need to make an impact. I want to make an impact. And technically that hasn't changed. It's just the definition of impact has changed for me. Where is that impact? I don't need to impact the world. I need to impact myself.
Yeah.
If the more I'm impacting myself, the more the world is impacted by that. And so my focus was just different. The impact was just a different definition. And so now with having Amari and having Nikki, and where my faith has grown, it's about the self journey. Am I better than I was yesterday? Because if I'm not better than I was yesterday, then I can't make my family better today. And it's about making me better, not comparing myself to anyone else, but who I was yesterday and who I've been in the past. That's the only gauge I have to accurately judge on my progress, is based on who I was and where I am today. That's the judge. That's the I can see how far I've come or how far I need to go. So I would say it's I really enjoy questions like this because it makes me reflect. But yeah, the biggest thing is just impact is still my why, but now the impact has to start with me. Has to be in my circle. And if I, to your point, if I make myself the best, then my wife is the best, then my daughter is the best, then my sister and my dad and everyone else is the best, because it all started with me being my best version of myself.
Well, look at as a father, and as you're a father now, but as soon as Amari starts spitting things out, it's a proud moment. And I want to talk about that for a second, because that was beautiful what you shared. Because, like you said, your why really hasn't changed. It's just instead of helping outward first,
Correct.
Help inward. And it's biblical.
Yeah.
See, because the prayer of Jabez, that's why I love that verse, right? I've been saying that verse for over 25 years.
Yep.
Bless me indeed, O Lord.
Yeah.
And at first people hear, oh, that's selfish. No.
Yeah, I was that person.
Right.
Yes.
Because
struggled with that.
a lot of times, and we've come across people that are helping the world. It's beautiful, but they're empty.
Yeah.
And the first
Or they're
storm,
home.
And then it falls. But instead of when you are stronger, Amari's going to need you more. Nikki's going to need you more. Your family's going to need you more. And that's the beauty, is that God says to build your foundation. Upon what are you building your foundation on? Yeah. Right? So that's why I love that your why went more like, well, I'm still going to do that. But let me regroup here. Let me recenter. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And a big part of that, what also changed was, impact previously was about an outside perspective. I wanted an outside audience. I wanted people to see that impact. Now I'm not so much as concerned with others noticing the impact. I'm more concerned, do I see the impact? Because if I'm not seeing it, then I'm not growing. I'm not more confident in myself. And if I'm not more confident, then I can't be getting better. Yeah. And so it's really about just, I don't need the world to be applauding me anymore. Now I'm focused on, okay, do I feel like I've grown? Is this where God wants me today? And it's just changed in a good, simple way, though.
I love it. Baby, what about you?
Yeah, I would, as much as it sounds cliche, but it's very similar to Zach's journey, it was always about making sure I seeked others and made sure they're okay. Always wanting to provide and always give to them. And I felt my purpose was always to be the first in line for whatever someone needed or what they were looking for. And I lost sight of myself. And I think that journey of, going through seasons of life and just getting older, hitting new milestones of your personal journey, you soon realize you don't need the validation of those things. You need to kind of peel back the layers. And what are you seeking? It's actually, at the end of the day, if I am going to keep putting myself last, I'm not gonna win the race, and the race of which life is. And it's still a very new journey for me, but learning to kind of peel back the layers, release it all, as our motto right now, Dad, is release to receive. And I've always not been able to release things because I thought that made me vulnerable. I thought that made me weak. And me learning that it's okay not to be the first in line for everybody else, to kind of be in first in line for yourself has been like the biggest why shift for me, because it's still the same. I still want to give. I am a giver, and that is just, okay, God gave me a great gift to give, but I have to give to myself too. And that's where I'm trying to learn that shift of I can still have the same why of wanting to be that for people and the world and our family, my husband and future children, whatever that looks like. But if I'm going to keep putting myself last, I'm going to be empty inside. And that's not what we stand for. That's not what we live. That's not what you've taught us. That's not the journey we've always ran together. So it's, if we want to be with strong family unit that we are, we need to make sure that like our inner selves are also a reflection of what we put out. And I think for so long, I didn't want to be vulnerable, weak. So I'm in that season of my why is still my why. I'm going to be a giver to my last day here on earth, but I need to give to myself so I can be like that next level of Cassie, that next level of our generation, of our family, of everything, because that's what God called me to do, but it's not going to happen if I keep putting myself last. And so it's the same feeling. It's like there's no validation. I need to give myself validation.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, is release to receive. But what are you releasing, Cass? You're releasing everyone else so that you can, peel back the layers of you and be stronger to see what that next level is. So the why is just shifted. The why just has a different meaning. And I think as you get older, we all learn that, right? You always say to us, Dad, I wish I learned what I know now, but I now get to share that wisdom with you guys, right?
Yeah.
And that's something we don't take lightly, but it's so true. You run a race and you're so young, and then they do say, hey, 30s are the new 20s. It's very exciting.
So what are they saying about the 50s? I haven't got that memo yet.
Dad, that's the new 30s.
Well, I love what you both shared, truly. And again, as a father sitting here, we love doing life together.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for that. But as we get that, my next part of that question for us is, how are we applying those changes? See, because look at, to me, the worst thing about legacy, and I, as you know, both know, I wrote these books. So if you're watching the show, you'll see this is my clip. So this is obviously Zach. What do you call it?
Staring off into the sunset?
Yeah, but what do you call this? To
painting.
Yeah, but either way, and then same with yours. So when these books were written, they were written a long time ago, and then I finished them. But at that point, it was because most people speak, when does artwork really go up in value? Usually when the artist dies, typically. So to me, I want to do the contrary. I want the value of us as humans to be built today.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, oh, I didn't see my dad, but he provided a good financial life for us. Well, where is he? Well, I don't know, but he's... And kudos. I'm not here to hate on people. I'm saying let's regroup.
Yeah.
You're missing moments of life.
Yeah.
And I'd rather make less and enjoy more than the opposite. Because look at that question that was circling around social media lately. Hey, would someone give you $10 million? Would you take it? Oh, yeah. But did that mean you traded your life for it and you only had a year? Well, no. So therefore, we value time and life more than money. But then why are we not living that?
Yeah.
See, everyone talks about it, but how are we living that? And I'm happy to say that I feel I'm living that.
Yes,
I really try to do that, but cohesively with others. So what is a practical step? So you're speaking to the 10-year younger version, the 10-year younger version, the 10-year younger version, well, let's make 20 younger version for me, is you tell ourselves that. Because the key is, what are we going to do with it? All these books are great, but like I always say, unless you apply the knowledge, it's just paper.
Yeah.
So what is one tip that you would say to yourself and the generation that's going to listen to this, the new Gen Zs, the Munchkins coming up, the Maris down the road, they're going to all say this at first.
You don't understand.
You don't understand, which you guys were very much there. So to help people along so they don't have to suffer, I'll come back to something for me as a father. It is my job to sacrifice. And I get the joy, the privilege to see some of those sacrifices coming to fruition this moment alone.
Yeah.
So what is our why that we can share a tidbit to someone that's practical?
You want to go first?
I think first thing that comes to mind, it kind of goes in line with what I just said, that I'm still discovering for myself, but is learning to love yourself first, and in every season that you're in, and learning the tools that make that to make that happen. And
So let me ask you that. So what is a tool now? Because that's a big statement, but what is a tool now helping you love yourself more?
is releasing everything that's held me down. I think the validation from others and the need to please has been my biggest kryptonite, that I can easily put myself last. And I think the more that I'm coming into this journey of knowing that it's not selfish to put yourself first, because if you do that, you have more to go. You have more to give. You see more, and you're motivated more. You have more gratitude. It's just, it unfolds. So I guess a tool is just learning that putting yourself first is not selfish. I don't know if that's really a tool, but it's a way of thinking.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
You got to fill yourself up first.
So I would say a tool from what you're sharing is awareness. A tool is awareness. You're being aware.
Yeah.
Because we've been saying, let's people bless, not people please, right? So a tool would be like maybe a prayer over yourself, or people praying over you, or certain books that you're reading now going, hey, let me fill myself up like Zach said. Let me pour into me a little bit more so that my glass is on a fuller level.
Yeah.
Because I also think that helps in how we look at life.
Like, you don't go out seeking what you feel is lacking. You feel that yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a learning journey. That could be something for me today, but by the end of this year, I've outgrown that. So it's ever changing. So I don't think it's something that's like set in stone, because it's a journey. You know, you're always evolving. You want it to keep growing. You want to, like, oh, I filled that gap, so now here's the next one. So you're always filling you're filling yourself up, but it's evolving, because that's what you want. But I think the moral and like the thing that I'm trying to get at is showing up for yourself isn't a selfish thing.
Yeah.
And that is the most important thing in all aspects of your life, whether you bring in a spouse, your family, your friendship dynamics, your everything that you go through life. And life's hard. Like, life isn't easy, but it's worth living. We're so blessed to be here. But
absolutely. And and I think what you said is beautiful, because again, what good are we to, and you're both married, so what good are to your spouse? But the biggest thing that, before we get to you, Zach, that really hit me, I know we can all relate, but this hit me a lot in my life. But I never realized that I always wanted to be saved, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have, as you both know, with all due respect to my dad, I'm never shaming anybody. So y'all know that I'm never here to shame, but I'm going to speak truth. My dad did the best he could do. To the standards, it's not the best that we would continue.
Yeah.
That being said, I always felt somebody was going to save me.
Yeah.
Right? This job's going to save me. This boss, this business partner, this coach. And I'll never forget seeking older, wiser men. I'd meet this pastor or this great leader, and I'd meet him, and then I realized that he's human.
Yep.
And that he has his own issues.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm giving advice, and I'm like, okay, well, thank you, God, but I really thought I needed somebody. I just, and I went from, just being honest, anger, frustrations, felt I was getting cheated, to then God saying, no, see the joy, be the joy. And then the mind shift. Doesn't mean I was wrong, but at the end of the day, God said, well, everything I became is because I didn't have. He purposely didn't give me certain people so I would rely more.
Yeah.
But but our legacy, thankfully, has started to change, where, oh, this is what family kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Oh. And even though that I never had a picture of what a normal or better family looks, I knew in my heart that there was better.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that. Carry on. So, Zach, what have you been doing that's applicable in your why conquest?
I've recognized that one of the hardest things in life is to take a step, but that's the most pivotal thing to do, is to just keep taking steps. You know, paralysis by analysis is a real thing. And especially now with social media and the culture we live in today, we're bombarded with information, with choices, with options, with decisions to make. And making a decision to our generation is scary, because it means that I committed to something. It means that if it doesn't work, I'm held accountable. And that's just a scary thought for so many people. So the biggest thing that I've learned to do is just to take a step. Instead of, it's something that I've learned from one of your best friends, Steph. Instead of assuming God has a red light up, I've started to assume that he has a green light. And I'll step until he tells me to stop.
Yeah.
God speaks most
That's
clearly.
faith.
He speaks most clearly when we're taking the step before we see the step. If we take that step before the step's there, he'll make it clear if we need to keep going. The door will close, another door will open. It becomes very clear, but it's not clear if we're stagnant. Oh, let me go pray about it. And next thing you know, you're praying for 6 months and then you've taken no steps and nothing's progressed. You've actually fallen behind and now you have to try even harder to get back to where you were. So if I can give any advice to 20-year-old Zach or anyone who's in their 20s, just take a step. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Just take the step, pray about it, take the step, pray about it, take the step. God will meet you in the step. But like you said, with faith without action is dead. There's no faith. So taking a step is action. So just take the step, no matter how small. And taking a step doesn't always mean physically selling your house or moving. It could be that, all right, I'm decided to go research this next step. It's just making the decision in your mind and your heart. All right, I'm going to take a step. Maybe I feel like I need to move. All right, I'm going to take a step. I'm going to go look at this area. Let's go find a realtor in that area. All right, nothing came back. All right, let's check this area. Oh, I found a house there. God's going to speak through the steps you take. So I just would encourage anyone and everyone to take a step.
I love that.
That's really
so
good.
true.
Well, you're right, and that's why I love that verse, right? Because faith without action. And why is that? Because again, I think there's so much pressure. People think it has to be perfect all the time.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's why
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, and we all have been.
We all are. It's so easy. Yeah.
But that's the wisdom, and that's the goal of our share. Hopefully, that people hear that relate to you, Zach. In your demographic. Hey, I'm a newly 2-year married. 2 years, right?
3.
3 years. 3 years. Sorry, Nikki.
Come on now.
3 years. Right? Baby, almost 7 months old.
Yeah.
Whenever people hear this, but either way, but the joy.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer about you, Zach.
Correct.
It's no longer about you. And even in this stage of my life, I mean, what gets me going, I'll share a little bit of my why, is I see always God allowing me to plow forward. He's given me a vision where vision doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And now he's given me great people and tools to help bring that out. And my passion's always been bringing it all together. No different than the other night and the people. And you would think, well, what is that? It's not. I'm grateful, but what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
So that leads me to the next part is, what do we want to do with our gifts in a practical way? So I want to help people on a daily basis be better, live better, right? They can give better. So it's all the same process. So Brownstone has allowed me some freedom, some opportunities. So I make sure that I meet those obligations. And within that, it's cool because our daily life represents those subs, the people we do business with. They feel that effect.
Yeah.
So now with this podcast and this show, hopefully it reaches into all new levels. And then I wanted to talk because I wanted you guys to, blooper. One of the things that I wanted to present to both of you to get your honest opinion is when you hear this. So when you hear, I know you all the different crazy things that Dad does, but as a coach, this one means a lot to me. The PPP, right? People go, me and my initials are acronyms, right? Well, to what you were saying, Zach, is that we spend so much time overthinking. But I really believe, and you just said it, is that it's just stepping. And it's just being aware, like what you were sharing. You're now learning to release, to receive. Well, what does that mean to someone? Well, right? Like, so when you hear PPP, when you hear release and receive, how does that apply to you now? And how does that excite you for what's next?
I think it applies to me now in many aspects, especially, say, career-wise, making moves in your career, being in my early 30s, I think the pressure of having it all figured out and not having to make a shift. And if you make a shift, that's somehow translated as negative.
Yeah.
And I think that's scary. That, for me personally, makes it harder for me to take a step.
It's like you
because
failed.
I failed. Like it makes me feel like, oh, I feel like I should be there already. Wherever there is, it's just in my mind, it's, oh, okay, Cass is in her early 30s. You know, what are you doing, Cass? I'm actually restarting.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That's me taking a step. That's me releasing right now.
Yeah.
Amen.
Early 2024, I am releasing. Like, and it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
heavy and it's scary. And I am so thankful I have such an amazing support team. And us sitting here is literally how we talk on our couch, you know?
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. And this is why it makes me so excited. Sorry to pivot, but excited to be here because people comment on our family all the time, but in a beautiful way of like, you guys always just are together. You want to hang out. And this is exciting to be able to share that with people, that this is real, whether you're family or not, that these types of conversations are real. They're scary, but it's just so neat to be here. But releasing right now is what I'm doing in my life. I am early 30s. So if I could say that like I have it all figured out, I don't. But I thought that always for so long was going to be perceived as negative and like a shameful thing. And I was scared of that and embarrassed almost. And, you know, that's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be embarrassed about, because everyone has their own journey. And I'd be more embarrassed if I didn't make this step, because then I would still be here wherever, you know. So I'm excited to release what I thought was for me and to start stepping into what is next for me. And that is still unknown. And there's still so many variables. But what I'm excited about is just taking the step, proceeding forward, releasing what didn't serve me and seeing what's going to come next, because that's all we can do. And I want to be a motivator for younger people and for older people. It doesn't matter where you are in life. I just want to be able to share that journey, because I know so many people can relate. Yeah. And that we all need something to believe in. We all need to share something. We all want to be relatable, right? Like, we don't want to be the one that sticks out. We don't want to be the one that's only taking the step or feeling alone. Like, we're not meant to be alone.
On that note, but I want to speak two truths to you. One is that we started the episode by saying we make the efforts. Every family has the opportunity, but I've always believed that, going to what you started, Zach, so everyone goes external first. Let me go become great at my job. Let me go be great over here. But then your family's falling apart. It doesn't mean your family falls apart, because we all know I went through something, but I didn't doubt myself. I didn't sit there and go, what could I? Yes, I'll take responsibility for anything I could have done better, always. But I didn't stay down. And we live in a world where lies are constant. And you suffered from that as part of why you like, where should I be? What can I be? What can I do? Well, you've seen your dad now restart life, for lack of a better word, 3 major times.
Yes.
You guys were with me, all of them, but 2 like in it. And if I stayed too long in those lies, we wouldn't be here. And if you stayed too long in those lies, you wouldn't be here.
It's lies that I make up in my own head.
Well, we should be. But here's the secret, I believe, is that we all are hurting. That's not a secret.
It's all battles that you can't see.
But we don't share.
Correct.
Because you said it, vulnerability looks
scary.
like weakness.
It does.
But to me, and that's something Zach started a while.
But it doesn't. But that's how
Of course.
That's why I've always been reserved.
It,
And I not put off. I just would change the focus to not be on me, so I could help others.
Well, hey, Cass, how you doing? Oh,
I'm good, but how is the problem with this? Or how is your job going? That's just because if no focus, I don't have to share or be vulnerable or sound weak.
It's neat to see where you're at right now, Cass, because, you know, it's something that Nikki talks about often is you can't, when your hands are like this, you can't receive what God has for you. So I just see for 2024, your hands are going like this, and you're about to receive so much more, because you're now letting go of what you needed, what you thought was supposed to be, and you're opening that hand.
I'm gonna cry.
That's good.
It's okay.
And, you know, when those hands open, that's what the Lord's asking us to do. He's asking us to trust him. He's asking us to say, hey, I know you have your plans and your dreams, but put them at my feet. Lay them in my hands, and let me show you that you're just touching the tip of the iceberg with those thoughts and those dreams. I have so much more for you.
Yes.
And it's just really awesome to hear your heart, to see where you're at, and I'm really excited because God's gonna meet you
love
in
you
this
guys.
vulnerability. It's so important.
Yes.
He's gonna meet you in that space, and I'm proud to be your brother.
Thank you. I love
Going
you.
to you, Dad, I wanted to touch real quick. You know, you have said the things that you've just shared our whole life. You know, like when you tell us it's not by, intimacy and relationships don't happen by accident. They're not a byproduct of casual. Intimacy and real relationships take intention, take effort from both sides. And that's something that you've always spoken into us as a family. Like you said, we love hanging out with each other because we call out the best in one another. We don't allow each other to speak lies over each other.
Yes.
We call that out. We point that out. We lead each other back to the cross. We catch each other when we fall. That's something that's very special. And we have put the work in to enjoin one another. This wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you leading the way.
Absolutely.
This wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the opportunity to experience you start your life over 2 or 3 times, to witness you fall, to watch you get up, and to watch you become better and better and better every single time. Now, that gives Cassie the confidence at 30 years old to say, you know what? No, my dad can do it. I can do it. We
Yes.
can let go. We can start over, And so I just want to speak that to you, Dad. It's been awesome, truly amazing to just be a fly on the wall and as close as Cassie and I have been able to be with you, to witness you, the inner workings, the things that God has done inside your heart, what he's doing outside through your obedience and your sacrifice. We wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for any of those things. So I just wanted to speak a moment to that because that's what replays in my head all the time. I hear you saying intention. I hear you saying intention. I hear you saying
PPP.
intention. PPP, plan, pray, proceed.
Plan,
And it's
pray,
why
proceed.
I say that thing about taking a step, but if you actually think about what I just said, all I said was PPP in my own words. I just took what you've been telling me my whole life and I just put it
Every
into
day.
different words that resonates with me, but it's 100% PPP. It's plan, pray, proceed. And it's something that you've given us the confidence,
The
and
tools,
the
Dad.
tools to be able to step into and walk it out. So I just needed to take a moment to shout you out.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you both, truly. Because like I said, most people's value goes up when they're gone, right? We live in a world.
That's what you always said to us too. You said, the words you said was, I'm not going to wait for something bad to happen before I appreciate this family.
Amen.
You've
Never
always
go to
said
bed
that.
mad.
You have always said that to us. And that's when, even though your relationship with your dad hasn't always been the best, you put the work in to salvage what you could, to make what you can do now, and that speaks volumes to us. We might not say it right then and there. We might not say anything at all, but what it does to us witnessing it is something special and changes
we
things.
live.
It's the way we live. We're walking it out now because of you walking it out.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, and I receive that. I really do, and it is a joy to be able to see that because, again, the more I've seen life, the more you realize that, look, everyone's just trying to figure it out.
Yes.
The problem is that a lot of people figure it out, they just hurt people along the way.
Yep.
And I'm grateful that God, and only God, helped me take my hurt and do something good with it.
And bless others
And
every
that-
day
and
along
that-
the way, Dad.
And that's
Yeah.
it. And even the way we started today in the parking lot, which we'll talk about later with little Zach, that's why for me, every time an obstacle comes, I smile. I really do. A failure, I smile because I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
If things were always easy, I would not have the grit or the grind or the desire. But it also means that we don't have to always, like you said, wait till something bad happens.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy these moments. And it's not because I'm living in fear or living like if it doesn't happen again. Because the greatest joy is knowing we're all going to be together later, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Exactly.
So you believe that. Like I tell people, you either believe it or you don't. There is no half. That's what God says. I spit out lukewarm.
Yep.
You're either with me or not. He's very clear about that.
Yep.
And I get that. And that's how I feel I'm in my life. And I do thank you both because you've always had my back. As you know, I've had your back. And I say that because a lot of families don't. We're literally experiencing that right now.
Yeah.
But like I always share on that, I'm aware. I just don't let it consume me because that's God's word.
Yeah.
If you think about everything that I write about or share, it's really that.
Yeah.
It's just, God says, anything before me
Yeah.
is an idol.
Correct.
Anything. So therefore, I'm saying, I'm aware. I see it. I see that person in my family hurting. Their actions are horrible and they have consequences, but it's not going to take over
Yeah.
the joy I have today.
Yeah.
That's my game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we were able to take out grandma, have those moments,
Yep.
give her 2 hours of unfiltered love. And yes, we wish this, of course, but it's not. So we live in
But
what
it's
is.
what we make it.
Like you said earlier off the record, there it is. This is it.
Yeah.
And that's why my next little page to share real quick, for those that can see, it's my 60-30-10. Yes, 60-30-10. Which means I believe, and I want to get your 2 cents on this, is 60% of our time. I just gave a number. It could be whatever to each person. Being present. Because I believe when you're present, you're intentful. You're showing that person that you want to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, things happen. You got to put phones away and there's work. Of course, life happens. But on a regular basis, if that's all the time,
Yeah.
then you're no longer being intentful. You're trying to squeeze something in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 10%, I believe that, and I want to get your opinion on this, so many people spend so much time in the past.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Most
or
of the
the
time.
future.
Or the future, but they're missing now.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss Amari's moments,
Correct.
your moments, this moment here.
Yeah.
But when we live with that joy and go, okay, the past needs to be a place of reflection, of remembering,
Yeah.
of reminiscing.
Of learning.
Yes, but not to reside,
Correct.
not to live there.
Yeah.
And I always joke about Al Bundy, on Married Children. He always talk about his high school days, Well, I always say, well, my best days are here and coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to reminisce on the past of a place like how great it was.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it was great. But guess what? Now it's
Better.
greater.
Yeah.
And that is the faith part. So what does that mean to you guys when we talk about the 60-30-10? I mean, what does that mean to you?
You want to go? You want to go?
You go first.
I think of the metaphor and the kind of visual I get when you say that 60-30-10 is, it's like driving in a car. You're driving in a car. You need to be present when you're driving in that car. Otherwise, you're going to crash, You have the rearview mirror. That rearview mirror is just to glance at, take a peek. What did I just pass? Did I miss something? Is someone trying to get my attention? Can I move over to the right? Can I move to the left? It feeds you information. Looking into the rearview mirror, that's your past. You can reflect, you can review, you can take the information that the rearview mirror gives you. You're looking forward. You can't stare off 3 miles down the road because you're going to miss your exit. You got to look forward, but you're ultimately present, staying in the car. What's right here? What am I doing? I'm having a conversation. What's going on? So I love that kind of 60-30-10. I think it's really applicable to most people's lives. You're wanting to spend most of your time in the present. Otherwise, you're going to miss so much. You got to have that time when you're reflecting and looking back. Where could I have been better? What did I miss? How can I be better going forward? It's a refining process. And then, looking forward, you have to look forward so that you're hopeful for something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get burnt out and you're like, it's never ending. And there's no joy. There's no.
What are you working for?
Yeah. What am I working
towards?
for? Looking forward. It's like hopeful. But that's the other thing about looking in the mirror is I think so many people forget is it's not just how could I have been better, but what did I do good?
Yeah.
How did I look in the mirror? Look in the rearview mirror and wow, I actually did a good job that last time with that friend in that situation. I want to keep doing more of that. Yeah. It's also trying to find those things. So I think the 60-30-10 is super applicable. And the other piece about being in a car is that you're moving. It's constantly moving.
Yeah.
You're on a journey. You're going somewhere. The car's not parked. If it's parked, who cares about the 60-30-10? You could put your eyes anywhere.
Yeah.
But if it's moving, we have to do everything that we just said. Glance through the mirror. Keep your eyes forward, but not too far forward. Be present. That way you continue on your journey.
Well, I think the 30% too, to me, and I love what you just shared, and I love the car analogy.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Because it's being intentful, right? Like this particular trip that we all were on is we were celebrating milestones, birthdays. It is making everyone feel special, right? Because that is our hearts. The intent part is backing that up.
Yeah.
Not just saying I meant to, but to do it.
Yeah.
So I love that. What about you, baby? What is that?
I think when I hear 60-30-10, it's like it's so relatable to no matter what you believe in, no matter where you are in life, it's applicable, but everyone has their own journey, right? So 60%, 30%, 10%. We all can apply that to ourselves and be like, okay, like we're doing, but if I'm going to focus all my time of what I didn't do and focus on the things that I wish I could have changed, and life keeps moving on, and you are stuck in the past, and that is a really relatable thing. And I know I'm guilty of it, and things of like, especially where I am in life. What did I like? I thought I was doing everything right. Like, why am I being stripped of everything? Why am I here? Like, asking all those questions rather than asking the question of, I am here. Okay, what am I going to do with it now?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking,
learn from it?
like being in this rut of going down the list of exactly what you said, Zach. It's like, look, being proud of what you did do. I think we, as a society, as an individual, it's so easy to just think of all the things that you didn't meet, that you didn't accomplish, that you could have done better, versus thinking, oh my gosh, I actually did accomplish a lot. I just never take the time to peel back the layers of giving myself credit or giving myself praise of all the things that you did. So if we just flip that tiny little narrative of just learning to be proud of ourselves, if we're going to spend so much time in the past, we should be doing that versus all the things that we couldn't do. We all have regrets. We all have things that we wish we could do better. But it's like those little things, that like those little questions that if we just, as we learned yesterday, reframe it. It's just you spend so much time on the same questions, but if you just flip one of the words in it, it's a completely different question.
100%.
And I think that's so powerful, and I think that's so necessary, even just for the younger generation. The old, it doesn't matter where you are. 60, 30, 10 can be applied in every aspect of your life, because those are tools to live by. Like, those are things that and they're all, like, to my point earlier, they're going to always be evolving, and they're always going to be changing.
Correct.
But it's so important to reframe those questions to keep you going and to keep you excited and to look forward to things, because that is the future. Like, that is hope. That is installing new things for our family's generation, the Maris and everyone that comes afterwards. It's just...
Well, and I love what you built. I love that. And what you said is, you said it beautifully, is just switching a little bit around. But it's also, again, what is our goal? And you've both done a really good job of sharing applicable things. Because we've all know we're only going to grab what we need sometimes, not always what we want. It's what we need, and vice versa. But I think for what you're both sharing, and I love hearing you both, because it's seeing how you are applying that into your life. But the goal here is to not wait till something bad happens, to seize those moments. And you and I talked about this the other day when we were having that moment. I go, look, people go, Mark, Henry, you've only been in real estate for this long and this. I go, yeah, but it was my life that got me here. And that's what I feel for you. I mean, speaking that into you, like, 10 years over here. Yeah, that was the warm up. That got you what's going to, all of a sudden, like Zach said, next couple of months, you can go, whoa.
Yeah.
And
it's just looking through a new mirror.
Absolutely.
For the first time.
But that's why the best us goes how we started this whole thing. The Marriage of Bez, the best us can see things better, can give things better, can live better. And that's why on the book, which I'll get in a second, it just talks to me about what we're doing. And I just want to share on that before we run out of time, is because you make me so proud, because you are literally living what I feel, not just what's best for our family, what I feel God wants for families, which is the head of the family to be strong, to then have the spouse be strong. You have to become one.
Unity,
That's how it was created. And then from there, the kids grow from that. So it's such an easy visual, but yet our society is so enough of that. But here, when you grow strong the proper way, how does a good flower grow? Proper rain, some food.
Well, I want to touch on that real fast. I think that's why our culture struggles with this so much, is exactly that. We want to, no one wants to put the work into the family, because the work you need to put in to have what we have, it's not showy. It's not flashy. It's not going to get 1 million views on Instagram. It shouldn't even be on there, because it should be one-on-one. It should be, you think of a plant, you think of a flower, how it grows. It grows in the dirt. It's underneath. No one's seen it, and so that's where the hard work happens. And I think with our culture today, and everyone wanting to be people pleasers or needing that, they need that appeal, they need that applause. So they don't want to do the hard work because
Yeah.
it's not flashy. It's not showy. You're not going to get an applause. You know, it might not feel good the moment you walk out of that conversation, but 2 weeks from now, when everyone's had a chance to digest the situation in that conversation, everyone left that conversation growing.
Yeah.
But no, so many people are not having that conversation. One, because they're, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I want to maintain the peace. But ultimately, we're just pushing off the problem. We're just putting a Band-Aid on it until ultimately it comes out in the wrong way. So that's what I love about our family is we got over that. We don't need the flashiness. You know, we don't need any of that. We wanted love. We wanted truth. We wanted real. And so we've poured into one another. We call each other out. We set the meetings. We have our FaceTimes. We, you know, we're now living 3 states away from each other. And, you know, thankfully, again, I speak to you because you've led us with such an amazing role model. You don't just tell us what to do. You do what you say.
Yeah.
You do what you say. You practice what you preach. And that's, I think, something that's so difficult for people today is to practice what they preach.
Also, because they don't have, it's not that they don't, I feel like that's also, they don't have the right support system, and it's scary to find that.
Yeah.
And whether that comes from your family or not, it's like, it's lonely out there. And I feel like having these types of conversations can inspire people, whoever listens to this. And to your point, even if just one person heard this, it's just like, you're not alone, but it's just finding your right people. Whether we're just we're very blessed, but that doesn't come without work, to all of our point, but to have each other. But this forum, whether it's recorded or not, it's so powerful. And like, what I want this to be to people is inspiring to reach out to us, reach out to anybody, to not be alone, because the support system, like I said to the very beginning, we're not meant to be alone. We're people. We're meant to be peopling.
We weren't designed.
We're meant to be
alone.
peopling, and that's hard to find for people, and you know, so
It is. And you shared some powerful things, and thank you. I do thank God. To me, my turning point was 12 years old. That's when I really felt the journey, because I wasn't received. I was considered the black sheep and everything. And it wasn't to be different. It was because I knew I had to choose a different road. And on that's why starting with this podcast and this show and anything we could do in our daily lives is to start one by one. And like you said, Zach and Cass, it's not showy. It might not get 1 million views tomorrow. I'm not doing it for that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because
building a legacy.
Jesus could do one, you're all saved, one shot. But he doesn't. So what makes me think I can?
Yeah.
But one right person at a time.
Yeah.
For the right reason.
One step at a time.
Intention.
KO changed little Zachary's life.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So many
Yes.
lives.
In turn, they helped our family.
Yes.
Yes.
But that little boy is about to go, who's a young man now,
Yep.
to one of the top universities in the country.
Yeah.
And it started because he was afraid to tie his shoes.
Yep.
So KO wasn't a place to do a good boxing workout, which we did.
Yeah.
But it was the byproduct. So that's what I'm saying is for us.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing.
Yep.
And that's why, like you said, Cass, it's our family isn't that it's all that. No, we have plenty. We know we have plenty
We
of
have our
things.
moments.
But we're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're willing to pray about it.
the hard things.
We're willing to do the hard things like you were saying.
Yeah.
See, nobody wants the hard things.
Correct.
They want the easy. They want the instant.
They want the mountaintop without the climb.
That's it. But we will, one step at a time, be real. And that's why when I wrote my little books and I shelved them and then I looking at this as I was finishing this last couple things, and I was like really looking through it and really reading it. My own stuff, but obviously with the DJ and Cass and everybody here. But I was really looking at things going, okay, I'm on this earth at this moment to be able to see some of the fruits. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
And that is the beauty, is that I want other families to understand it's not about being pretty on the outside. When you are able to truly break it down and make the intentions, hey, husband and wives, weekly, let's get together and let's talk. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk about things. Let's shelf it. Whether you believe in prayer or not prayer, whether you believe in
No
all
matter
that,
where you are or where you're at.
you have to be still.
Yeah.
To me, the most confident people in the world are the ones that can take criticism and say, okay, thank you for your opinion. And that's it.
Yeah.
Not have to overvalidate it, not have to overshare it. Just go, okay. As long as the boundaries are respected.
Yeah.
So on a personal level for our family, what was one of the hardest moments, the three of us? Because a lot of times people ask me, how did you guys become so close? So what is one moment that was ugly, but maybe you didn't even know it was ugly at the time, but as adults now, you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
And then how do you see that applicable into your life today? Like as a married woman, as a married man and a dad, think for a moment, like one that resonates with me just to kick it off was,
Don't steal mine.
Yeah, don't steal mine.
okay, never mind.
I feel like you might be all on the same page on this one.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, because you think I'm gonna. You probably
I think
have the same one.
and I don't want to copy you again. It's kind of annoying.
I'll copy you.
And
This time.
we are on the last 10 minutes. So,
Okay. So wrap it up.
well, no, this is way
Okay.
last. We saved the best for last.
So usually what we do to Dad. Okay,
Wrap it up.
come on.
Yeah.
You've been good.
I've been
You're
real
on
good.
fire, Dad.
I'm glad we have prompts.
Okay, so I think one of the things where at the time it didn't seem bad because nothing was ever bad, right? It's just circumstances that shouldn't have happened or you wish wouldn't have happened or whatever. So without getting into too many details of the things, it was when I ended up coming, I think we're all going to say the same thing, but I no longer live with mom, and you guys already lived together, but it was renting a house from somebody, and there was only one room. And obviously I'm a girl, 2 boys, 1 room, and I didn't feel like I had a place to go. And of course, Dad was like, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. You come in with us. We're going to live together. And I'm like, okay, like I just wanted to be with you guys, right? And Dad would, slept on a couch so I could share a room with him, but he would sleep on the couch at night. And Zach, you got another room for that person. We're living in one roof at some stranger's house, if you will, and we roughed it to share. And I think that, we weren't young, we were older. Like I think I was.
I had my 21st birthday there.
Yeah, I was not like we were.
No, on that.
We were young adults,
Yeah.
and feeling like sharing a room with your dad as a young adult in a stranger's house, but I never felt that was wrong. It was like, this is what you had to do. Like, this is a step to get to the next place. And you're so grateful that I had a safe place to go to, even though that's not what I like now looking as an adult, like that's crazy, right? I didn't have a place to, like, felt scary. Like, where do I live? Like, where do I go? And just, we all hands on deck, we made it work. And I think where that applies into my life is that no matter how much you have to start over, no matter how much things can get hard, the more you have prayer, the more you have unity, the more you feel seen, the more you have community in this strong family unit, you could literally live anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's the family and the efforts you put into each other.
Yeah,
and that's what's translated in my life. It doesn't matter if you're living in a garage. It doesn't matter where you live. You will make it work, and it's scary, and we're very fortunate. We had a roof over our head. We had food. We were so fortunate. But if you peel back the layers, that was a scary moment in life to not feel like you know where you're going or
Listen.
Does that make sense?
We all were thinking the same thing.
Right?
Yeah, look at.
Were you thinking the same one?
Close to it. There was one more that was a little deeper for me as a father, but on that, and I'm glad we're on time because this is a deep one. But look, that was only 14 years ago, give or take.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was 40 years old. 20,
Yeah.
Remember. So
No.
everybody 40 years old. So when people tell me, oh, like, no. 40 years old, it was a client of mine that allowed me to first start with renting a room for me. At 40, I had to regroup my life again.
Hold on, let's give proper context to this. So prior to this, we're living on a lake, Westlake Lake, in a nice house. We're renting, but it's a nice Westlake Lake house. Dad and I just opened KO Studios in 2009. This is now 2010.
Still in high school.
Cassie's about to finish high school. We just moved. It was 1 year after KO, so we just moved to our new building. We just expanded, so we're excited. But then all of a sudden, Dad lets us know that we gotta let the house go, and so we didn't know where we were gonna go. And so Dad rents this room, and then I end up sleeping at the gym. I spent like a week at the studio with Bentley and slept at the gym. We'd finish training, we'd close the doors, I'd go have dinner, and I'd come back and sleep on a mat. And then all of a sudden Dad rented a room, and then he rented another room, and then Cassie came over, and then, like you said, Dad slept on the couch. I had a room, Cassie had a room. I ended up celebrating my 21st birthday there. And we were working together in several capacities. Wild, because I look at that now as a father myself, to think about my son or my daughter, my child having to go sleep at our workspace, not even have being able to go to a home, that would have killed me. That would have crushed me. Yeah. To know that that's what you were going through, to know that, again, this is 40 years old. It's not 30 years old. 30 years, you're 40 years old with 20-year-olds, and you're having to do this. But yeah, that was a very pivotal moment for us. That emboldened us. That was the furnace. We were being refined in that process, and it brought us together. To Cassie's point, it didn't matter where we were.
It didn't seem bad because you don't look at it bad.
It was never bad in our eyes.
We're gonna keep going. It just because of you, Dad, of your strength, your wisdom, the persona you carry.
You made it feel normal.
You made it like we got this. Everyone can do this. No, it doesn't matter where you are. We could be sleeping under the bridge, and we would have a compound, and we would bring everyone over because that's just what we do.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's good that we're ending with this, because it's deeper, and I definitely can't wait for us to share more on this.
Yeah.
Because it was pivotal, guys. That's why when people say there's a reason God allowed me, but don't think I didn't wrestle with God.
Yeah.
40 years old.
Yeah.
I see out there people envying them and not trying, but I'm going, man, I know I'm a better human being than that person. Mm-hmm. I know I'm a better dad than that person, and to sit there.
Yeah.
And to watch other people succeed.
Yeah.
When I did everything right, I thought.
Yeah.
So God and I had some powerful conversations.
Yeah.
But what he always brought back is, I got you, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
And then I think back, you said it, baby. He gave me the strength that we're good.
Yeah.
Good.
We're good.
I got you.
And because of that, we made something that now you look back like, oh man.
Yeah.
You, Amari, and Nikki, like, oh.
No, looking back now, but like I said, at the time, I had the best 21st birthday.
I know, it was still like...
I barely remember any of it. It was awesome.
But
I had a good time too.
Yeah, we all did. We all did.
But just to that point, it was one of the hardest times of our life.
But
and we had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's where, like, now that things are pretty good for all of us, why the fire in me is stronger than ever.
Absolutely.
Because I know what it's like to not have.
Yeah.
So God didn't do this by accident. What are we going to do with it?
Yep.
And that's my why. So, again, sad to wrap it up, but we'll wrap up this. And
It's just to the beginning.
Here's a little teaser.
yeah, a
This
little
is just
teaser.
the beginning.
But that's why I waited for the deeper question to the end.
Yeah, oh man.
But no,
Sweating in
mine,
here.
which we'll bring back later, was around the studio. But
Yeah.
it was not a good memory, but it's how we handled it, which I like to end this last part of we give one little sign off for people is I want people to remember that, look, it's how you look at anything.
Yeah.
And God gave me the strength to look at that situation and not feel shameful. To your point, what I should have been, okay, again, be real.
Yeah.
Be real.
I had that moment.
You could be upset about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Share
but
that.
we just can't stay there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because that's not of
That's
God.
the question.
We cannot stay down.
Yeah.
And that's the difference of the playoff game we watched.
Yeah.
Yep, you should have lost the game. Nope, came back.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we do. So the key here is let's not always have to do a comeback.
Yeah.
Let's go forward when things are good and not have to always be the comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last things you want to share to people out there that are hearing the family,
Henry show.
anything you want to leave us off with?
No, just very grateful to be here. Grateful to be a part of this journey, Dad, and I'm excited to see what God continues to do through you and your obedience. It's
Thank
wild.
you, son.
I would say the same thing. I'm just happy to be here. I'm so excited to be a part of the journey. And this is just the beginning of your voice being heard through very different perspectives along the way, but applying the same message. And so I'm excited for your voice to be heard to the masses, millions, hundreds. It doesn't matter. It's going to get out there. And this is just the start. And I'm so excited.
I believe it and I receive it. I really do. And the more I'm out there, the more I'm on fire. And the more people I get to enjoy this journey with. So
Yes.
love you guys very much. Thank you guys, those that listened, that watched. What a joy. to share some of our lives. That the cool thing about what you're hearing, like, we had this identity, and this is us. It gets ugly sometimes, but the thing is, we committed to seeing it through. So, with that being said, love you guys. Thank you guys for being part of the Coach Henry Corner. We'll nail it down for now.
Coach
the logo
Henry
solid.
Show sounds good.
Coach Henry Show, Coach Henry, and God bless you guys.
Yay!
That's it.